Found it. It's been there since the last video. Remember when I left it there? I told you it'd be hard time finding it. Here it is. Great coffee. Anyway, welcome back to the shop. Today I want to talk about a donkey's ear. I made a donkey's ear for my Mitersaw. And I know what your first question is. What the heck is a donkey's ear? Well, I've known about them for a long time. I've always kind of wanted one. And I finally got inspired the other day. I watched a video from 3x3 Creations. Tamar, or I'm not sure what her name is. Very personable young lady, learning how to do these things. And she's come a long way. She's actually getting very knowledgeable. Anyway, it's a great channel, 3x3 Creations. If you haven't ever seen it before, I'll leave a link to it in my description since I mentioned her. But she did a donkey's ear, and that's what inspired me to just finally do my own. I really decided I got to have one on my Mitersaw. And we'll go over why and everything in a minute. Two things first. First, my t-shirt. This is the t-shirt I was wearing the other day. And the guy asked me, he says, what does your t-shirt say? He couldn't read it because I was sitting down. So I decided to give him the full view. Basically, you know who gave me this shirt to help keep me from getting confused when I try to fix things. So it just starts off how to fix stuff. Does it move? And it's a chart, yes and no. No, should it? Yes or no? Yes, spray it with silicone. No, no problem. So, does it move? Yes. Should it? No. Duct tape. Should it move? Yes. No problem. So anyway, I got this t-shirt so that it helps me figure out what's wrong sometimes and how to actually fix it. It's been a big help. So I have to thank you-know-who for that. Anyway, back to my saw here. One more thing, real quick. A quick story I was thinking about this morning. It got me to smiling and laughing again. When I was younger, my youngest son was 18. He was helping me work as a handyman. I had a handyman services, and he would go out and help me on some jobs when it was too much for one man to handle. Anyway, I had this one customer that he always had to argue the price. I didn't care what I offered it as. I could offer it at a sweet, super cheap deal. He would still argue till he's blue in the face on that price. And I got tired of it. So one day, he called me out to do another job this particular day. When I get there, and he asked what I want to do, and I looked at the job, and I figured out what it would take and everything. And I figured the price like I always do. And then my Saturday I was standing there, and I give him the estimate. And he looks at it. Lo and behold, I don't remember the price, but it was like, let's say, $100. And, you know, I told him it was $100. And he looked at it and he goes, well, he says, I like this. He says, but if I want to do it, he says, I really only think we should do it for $80. He says, I think it's $100 a little high. He goes on and on. I go, well, you know, I think you're right. The price is wrong. Now that I think about it, I think I want to charge $120. Here, let me change the estimate to $120 because I think that sounds better. You're right. The price is wrong. And he goes, well, wait a minute. He says, you told me you do it for $100. You're trying to raise the price. I said, well, you're trying to get it lower. It got me to thinking that maybe I do need to have it higher price. And then went back and forth a couple times about, no, it's going to be $120 now. By the time we were done, he was happy to pay $100 to have that work done, as it turned out. And not only that, he never argued the price again anytime I ever gave him an estimate or anything. So I apparently cured him of that problem. And it was so funny. I got back to the car and my son starts laughing. He goes, I've never seen anybody do that before. He says, that was hilarious. I said, well, to tell you the truth, I said, I just got tired of listening to him argue the price every time. I knew he was going to, like he always does. I said, I just wasn't in the mood for it today, so I thought I'd try a new approach. Sometimes if you throw people off their feet, then get them back on their heels with something like that, throw them off guard, it does help. So after that, never a problem with this guy. So anyway, it was a funny story I was thinking about this morning, and I was telling somebody else about it. I thought I'd share that with you. So much for Rambling Russ. Let's get back to what we really are here for. Let's talk about my Mitersaw. Sorry that it took so long to do that. Anyway, as you know, this is my Mitersaw here, and I put my table on here that I can now cut small pieces, even really small pieces, arbitrary line. I can line it up here I have a laser so I can line that line up if it's pre-marked, and then hold it down and do a nice, quick, safe cut exactly at the angle I want. Great little table. I've been using it a little bit here and there. It's very handy to have. Also, I made the accessory for 45s. So that if I want to do a 45, I now can take a piece in here, set it this way, cut it at a 45, and make for picture frames. Or I can put it up like this and cut it, and then I can cut 4 pieces and make a box out of it with miter joints. So this is a great little addition. The problem is inherently with a miter saw is how wide a piece you can cut when you stand it up on the edge. Now this fence is the height I can go on cutting a piece. It's about 3 inches tall. And if I hold this up against here, if it's taller than this piece, then it won't cut all the way through as I pull down. It'll hit the shroud before it finishes the cut. So, if that piece is too tall, let's say like this piece here, and I'm going to cut this at a 45. So if I put this up here like this, it'll never cut all the way through, so that would be a problem. So in order to cut wider pieces, like if I want to make a box that's 4.5 inches tall, all the way around, whatever length, it doesn't matter. Then you go to what is called a donkey's ear. So let me introduce you to my donkey's ear. And this is what a donkey's ear looks like. It's just a platform, sits flat on my table. This angle is at a 45 from this angle. And I put sandpaper on here so that it's non-sleek, just like on here. And I can line this up, push it up against my fence, and then I slide it over till my saw blade touches right here, which is my cutting plane coming down. This is my cut line then on here. If I put my light on, you can see the cut line right here where it's going to cut. So I need to line it up at the bottom to my either to this corner of my fence line or to my laser line, whichever one I want to use. And once I get it lined up just right, I can make the cut. Now, before I make this cut, there is one thing you should always do, is I'm just going to take a couple clamps and put one on the fence. And just for grins, this time, I can put another one right here, and that'll hold it flat to the table. Now, this isn't going to go anywhere. Now when I put this on here, it'll stay wherever I put it up against my fence so I know I'm at a 90, slide it down till I have it set right where I want it there, and now I'm ready to make this cut. So, I put my clamp on there, and I'm ready to make this cut. So now I can just kind of hold my piece and gently let the saw do the work. Don't try to force it. And I'm going to make this cut. And just like that, I have my 45-degree cut. Do that 8 times on 4 different boards, and you have a nice little 4-sided box that you can put together with. So this is quick and easy to cut miters. It's a great little setup. Like I said, it wasn't hard to make. Let's go over what I did to make this thing real quick here. All it is I just used 3/4 inch press board because that's what I had laying around. You can make it out of anything. It's a pretty stable material. And I cut one piece that's 9 inches wide, and I cut it at a 45, and I put it back together at a 45 with a couple of brad nails to hold this in place and glue. So that this piece here is setting at a 45 this way. This piece, the 45, is setting here, and I just bring them together so this sets down against the table. Put a couple of braces in here to give it support. Glued and brad nailed everything together. Then I put a fence right here on the end, and cut this off so that it's nice and even all the way across to give me where the cut line is going to be. It helps me line my board up on here. So, and I did add a board here so that I can take a clamp and clamp it to my fence. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and it only takes a minute to line it up. And what I like about this design is that if I don't have my table on here, I can still put this on here and use this without any problem, even that. And what else is really kind of nice? I can actually take this over and use it on my table saw sled if I want to. There's no reason why I can't set this right up against my fence on my table saw and use it there too. So this is actually going to be a handy little thing, this donkey's ear. And like I said, you can use it everywhere you want. Probably I could even use it on my bandsaw, quite frankly, if I wanted to. So I think it's going to be a handy little thing to have around here, a nice little jig. Hopefully it'll hold up well, but we'll find out when use. And I didn't have much time or money in it, so it doesn't really matter. You can make one pretty quick and easy. We're going to start using it. We're going to see just how handy this thing can be. So, anyway, now you know what a donkey's ear is. It's been around for hundreds of years. They used to use it to start with hand planes on a shooting board so that you could set your board up and cut a wide board at a 45 for like boxes and stuff. And so I've seen a lot of different ways to set up the miter 45s with a plane. Donkey's ear is probably the best way to do it, the easiest way. This works out real well. I'm very happy with this setup. So anyway, if you like this video, if you have any ideas about how to make it better, or tell me how you made yours, or even if you knew what a donkey ear was before, you know, let me know. I always like to hear about those things. So if you like this video or you learned something here, hit that like button. It always lets me know I'm going in the right way. Most importantly, though, please come back again, because we're nowhere near done. We still got lots of things we're going to do, even right here at the Mitersaw, that I think you'll like. So, thanks, and please come back again.